File, open. Window. Okay. That didn't go according to plan. File. Uh-oh, did I save this? No, my bad. Let me start. There we go. Did I save over the one I had? Okay, I'm going to sheet. Well, hold on. I am. Off to an inauspicious start. Oh, it's named the same. That's fine. Let's get rid of this. There we go. Okay. I'm hitting Command minus to zoom out a bit. I'm going to reset my panels to, I have more space. I'm going to move this over. I have my layers panel and I have my other panels that I use. Good practice. I'm going to make a copy of this layer so I have a backup and the original. I can right click and duplicate. I can do it that way. I tend to drag it. Oh, I'm going to unlock it first. And when you unlock it, that comes up. Box gone. So now I have two versions, and it's always good to name your layers because when you have tons of them, you can get lost. Working. Great. Let's turn this guy off for now. Okay. Very first thing we're going to do is straighten this thing up. You probably are thinking Control T, and that would work. In Pixlr, you have to guess at the straightness. You could use that sort of line to guess, but there's a little bit more advanced way. And you may choose to use that or not. I'm going to use my ruler guide and pull down a guideline right to there, and I'm going to pull one over here. Not perfect. Now, I'm hit Control T. This little guy in the middle, this little dot, is your pivot point. So if you move this, it changes your pivot point. You, on your Photoshop, will not see the pivot point. This took me an hour to figure out. When you're in the Transform tool, there's a little box up in the upper left. It puts this here, turns it on. So I'm just going to rotate this back roughly where it was. It's roughly around there. Now I'm going to move my pivot point right where that intersection is. So now when I rotate, I can line it up according to that line. And because my original one wasn't perfect, so that is a lot better. Great, it's straight.
How did you do that? Because I was on my Photoshop and I didn't really see how you did that.
Yeah, maybe it might be better to watch. All right, so when I hit Command T, I turn in the options menu, I hit this little checkbox, doesn't even have a name, and you can change your pivot point. So in this case, I'm lining that up, and it's not perfect because the original intersection was fine, but for our purposes for now, it's a lot better. Now, you might want to just get rid of all the extraneous stuff, and one way to do it is to make this rectangular thing and then invert it and hit delete, but you still have the rest of the document. So you probably are ahead of me in thinking, aha, crop tool. The crop tool, you can frame this exactly as you want. Now, mine is kind of bouncing around because I've changed this setting over here. Sometimes if you go to the mall and you want something printed, they have certain sizes and they're all kind of standard sizes. So if I just put this in, so if you, by default, I think it's off. I'm gonna put this, I know it's about 2 or 3 inches. Now this will just go together. So I'm gonna find the best version of this. Just in terms of speed, I'm gonna say I'm happy. I'm happy with that. I'm not really happy, but okay. So now it's cropped it. And right away, I've gone from that guy to this guy. At least it's straight and it has a size. And now we can start addressing some of the issues. And many of you are probably thinking, okay, go hit this hole first. Photographers, what they'll do is they'll look at it globally. This picture is kind of dull. So with the image, you can adjust it. And you might see these on your phone or any other apps. And many of them will look familiar, especially brightness and contrast. You pull that up, that kind of washes things out a bit. You can probably get close there. I'm not going to use that one. Why is that still on? Oh, I didn't never cropped. Hold on. There we go. Yep. Image adjustments. If you use a camera and into photography, you know about exposure. And this affects the light as well. This one actually, that doesn't look so bad on my computer. That might work, but I'm going to show you a different way. You could try the auto tone one. Photoshop gurus will use curves. And frankly, curves I find confusing. There is some math to it. There's some light and dark. If you're interested, you put in Photoshop curves, you can spend hours on videos. But otherwise, it's just a guess. If you're coming from Pixlr, you'll remember levels. Levels turns the lights and the darks into a mathematical graph, a histogram. So usually, this guy controls the dark. So usually what you want to do is just kind of adjust the outliers. That's what I tend to do. I don't know. So right away, it's a lot better. And in the midtones, you can refine this here. So I'm happy with that right now. So, wow, we've gone from that to that already, and it's looking good. And for some reason, my crop is still on because I'm still on the crop tool. There I am. Okay, now for the fun stuff. I cropped too much of the top off. Let's get rid of the little blemishes. And if you're from Pixlr, you might remember the Band-Aid or the spot healing brush. And a little tip, square brackets on your keyboard in Photoshop increase and decrease the size of the brush. You don't have to go over here. So spot healing brush, boom. Move this guy down, boom. Over here, boom. And right here. The healing brush itself does a bigger area. Yeah, I think we need a source, yeah. So you could, let me just try something here. No, let's just forget that for now. The spot healing brush is probably what you need in here. What you could do, I'm going to try this, see if it works. The patch tool. If I take a patch of this white, move it over to the handle. Oh, it went the other way around. Ah, great. So the place I was there was copied by the place I went. So let's do this again. So if I circle this, move this over here, it tries to fill in where I went. That didn't do a good job. It's not the best tool for that. Let's go back. So there's different tools. There's many ways to do different things. Let's address the elephant in the room, the hole here. I wonder if the patch tool will work. Let's get a little piece. And in this case, it's the opposite of what I want, right? It's actually filling this in. So there's some setting that I'm missing. So let's try the add to selection. Let's say I selected this, the opposite.
One has a good suggestion, actually, the constant, it works really well.
I'm getting there. I'm just trying to use another tool. I'm with you. The source. Oh, I see it. Destination. If you take a selection and move it over, so it's essentially patching exactly. It's going to try to blend. The reason why it goes black is it tries to blend in with what's already there. And Henry is exactly right. There's a better tool in this case, but there's more than one tool. Matter of fact, hold on. Some of you are probably thinking, lasso, I can go over here and Command C, Command V, and believe it or not, there's a copy of it there because I can see on the new layer. And whoops, I can pull that over. So the old Command C will work, but if you want it an exact copy, yeah, the clone stamp. So in Photoshop, in order to get the source, I'm actually tapping the Option key right now. I'm on a Mac. So if I hold this down and click and let go, then you paint from one place to another, which is, you've done this in Pixar, it's really cool. It's the Option key, you might forget. Command clone stamp uses the Option key. If you don't know, check, Photoshop's gotten much better. Learn more. Okay. Let's hit the, where my tool. It's funny with every time these. Okay, let's come back to that then. I'd like to change the top of this color, and if you didn't know anything, you would get a brush. You would get a brush. You would get a brush, and you'd pick a color, and the color's on my screen, and you would try. Here's the evolution of this. Or sorry, this part doesn't work. You say, okay, you know what? I know I'm not clever. What if I select it? Whoa, Command Z, I'm not on the right layer. I pick this blue. I'm going to hold the Shift key or increase the tolerance, pick more of the blue. So now it's all selected. So now I can use the brush, right? Hit the brush, and now I at least paint in the lines. Still looks fake. One tool you could use is under the brush tool, color replacement. And watch how this guy does. This was in Pixar as well, red. And this time it paints it red, but it keeps the texture. So better. Where's my history guy? Let's jump back to here. Now, the most advanced way is to have a range of colors. Now, I'm going to show you 3 different places to get this. Layer, adjustment layer. Look at these words, because you're going to see them again twice. These guys are the same things as that are down in the layers palette. These are the same things. And they're also, if you have the adjustment, these are the same guys. So we would like to affect the color. Now, if you look over here, this is the hue saturation, and this, it automatically puts a mask, which means it's actually hidden the part that we don't want, and the white part it's going to affect. So if we're on here, now you can choose your color. So let's do that one more time. That's funky. So I have my, let's get the, wow. Let's get quick selection this time. I hold the Option key. Notice how it turns to a minus. I can get rid of the part of the selection I don't want. And let's do it a different way this time. Let's do it from here. Hue saturation, and now we can pull the color around. Go for a nice purple. You can do the same thing with the flowers, except you'd probably want to use the Magic Wand tool. Make sure you're on the right layer. And in this case, I'm trying to pick the red, but it's not picking a lot of red. So I need to, oh, you know what? On yours, it's probably going to look like this. When you pick this red, you go, oh, what's going on? It's trying to pick all the red from the picture. That's not what we want. So we want to pick the red that is touching the red. And let's pull this up a bit. So if I hold the Shift key, it will add to the selection. I'm just adding. So let's say these flowers, I would like to have a different color. And play around, let's get them there. They're yellow for whatever reason. Notice there, it hid everything else, and it's only affecting that. It's actually not in Pixlr. That change would be on this layer, so you couldn't turn it off. It would be locked in. That's an advantage of Photoshop. You might not think so right now, but it is. And you can do that with the other flowers. The other tool, that's what I was looking for. Dodge, burn, and sponge are all from Pixlr as well. Dodge and burn, one is light and one is dark. In this case, I'm on the wrong layer. So the dodge one makes things brighter. And I'm being deliberately sloppy, but you could brighten your curtains. Or the alternative is burn, which I always get these mixed up, to be honest with you. You could darken, and you can adjust the adjustments up here. It's at 100%, so it's going to be really strong. In the past, people have put ghosts in the window. People have put characters, a television. People have taken out the curtains and put something else behind it. All that is worthwhile. I wasn't going to plan to do this, but for instance, right here, you take this in, and you don't want to mask it. Boom, you're actually just cut a hole in the window. And under dodge and burn, not dodge, there's the sponge. Remember, that's like saturation. So it's going to, in this case, saturate, or on the right layer. It's going to increase the redness of the reds. Just overdo it so you can see it. Command plus. So you can sort of see the red come back in if you want more richness. Command minus. I think that's enough for the. What I tend to do a lot of times is I tend to sharpen just to give it a crispness. So that brought it to life a little bit. Now for the last step, if we said to you, can you show us? Well, here's a little tip. I'm going to hold the Option key and click on the eyeball. If I hold the Option key, it only shows that layer. Kind of nice to know. So there's the before, and there's the after. So we'd like you to have them in one document. You could go File, New, and make a larger document, but somebody asked, maybe someone in your class, I think it was, let's increase this document so we can put them side by side. Right now, this document is very small, 400 by 600, let's say. So let's increase the width and the height. Let's make some space for some words. And let's keep the picture, make the space over here where this space is. So it's actually increased the size of our canvas. And now what we can stick on here, let's use the move tool, my bad. Move tool. And now let's use my guidelines I had from before. I have a before and after. Let's see. So there's that layer that's still hanging over there from the copy. So I could, in the very simplest terms, get another layer, get the paint bucket, switch this back to black, put the black behind everything, make another layer, and I just saw a problem that I'm trying to see if anybody else notices, and put some text on there. And I'll tell you guys a problem I couldn't find the answer to a while ago. So notice what happened here. Another little tip, if you right click on your image and your layers are named, you can jump to that layer right away. So I noticed let's move this guy out of the way. Notice that mask, this guy over here, is been moved around. I didn't know why, but how far back can I go? I'm just going to try to go before I flip these over. Right here. So, where's the mask that's on? Let's put this on this guy. Let's turn this off. Okay, here's something I learned this morning. As soon as you move this picture, the mask doesn't move with it. I didn't. So I was in a dilemma. So here's what I learned. If you hold the command key and link these layers so that now they're one, now when you move it, the mask moves with it. I didn't know that.
By the way, even if you don't link them, you could just select them both and they'd move at the same pace.
Let's try that. Let's try that. So here and here and yep, you're right. As long as you're not going to move it again. Yeah, Photoshop, there's tons of things, right? There's, I see I've done this window thing a number of times and for some reason that never clicked in. Maybe I did that before, I don't even know. So there's a lot of stuff there going on. And are you going to remember all that? If you're coming from Pixlr, it'll all sound familiar. You just have to get used to where these tools are. I'm going to do the same thing with the Pixlr peeps, just as a reminder. If I'm in that other room and you are lost, this is a video of me doing, oh, please work, yeah. Doing the exact same thing. Well, pretty close. I messed up once royally in here, actually. That this one's a bit tricky. You can go through it and kind of follow along. I followed the same general pattern. This one has a few more things I did, actually. Okay, is any big questions? Is there something I missed or something that I don't know I didn't say or? All right, I'm gonna leave. We're gonna leave you guys here. If someone has a question about how to do something, could you please ask one another? If you guys are in a classroom, you'd ask the person beside you, or put it in the chat. Will the chat work when I'm gone? I don't even know. Can you guys just help each other out? Yeah, if you remember every single detail, I'd be surprised. But try your best. And if you get real stuck, look at the video. If you don't want to talk to anybody, you guys have a little bit of experience. Last chance. Victor, since you're the only one I can see, is that everything? Think you can handle it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this is Photoshop I wish we were at school for more than anything else. Okay, I'm gonna go check out the Pixlr peeps. No chat, and let me see, I'm looking at the chat. Later, can I check? Yes, Quinn, absolutely. I need to change or something. Yeah, it keeps changing. The whole refine, yeah, tons of stuff keep changing. Right. Listen, you have tried that method just on it. You can, I'm just reading the chat. Make the layer and tell them the concept. Yep. So if anybody sees hike stuff in the chat, there's not one way to do anything. It's you can also adjustments panel the image on top. Yep.